Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with a very good friend of the channel, awesome individual, wonderful human being, Mr. Michael Butler. How you doing, man?
How's it going, man? How's it going?
Hey, so I don't know. Well, last week or the week before, I put out an Airbnb video with someone who's doing vacation rentals on the beach. We kind of talked about Airbnb arbitrage, sort of glossed over it. I know that you do Airbnb arbitrage, so I thought I'd ask you some questions. How's it going? Because near as I can tell, it seems to be working really, really well for you.
Yeah, it works. It works good for me. I did see the video with I can't remember her name, with the lady who was doing the
Anna
beachfront.
Kelly.
Yeah, now that's freaking awesome.
That's
you know what I
next
mean?
level.
Like that's next level stuff. You know what I mean? If that was the entry point, then a lot of us wouldn't be able to kind of get some of this started. So I think it is. I mean, but that's the freedom. That's the freedom of when you've done one rental at a time and you've invested, you put the time in. You can be more cautious with what you invest in.
Yeah. First off, Anna Kelly, if folks that don't know, she's one of my experts. She has a playlist on this channel. She grew up in Section 8 housing. She did house hacking. She started 20 years ago, like I did. And now, yes, she has the luxury of buying multiple $1 million beachfront properties. So one rental at a time and market, it all works.
And she's earned that, she's earned the ability to be able to be more selective and to be, more safe in the investments that she chooses. That's all what we want, right? That financial freedom of being able to make a choice.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Airbnb arbitrage. Right.
Okay.
First off, let's define it for someone if they, as you and I understand Airbnb arbitrage, so people just know what it is, so we don't just throw vocabulary at them. What is? I feel
like
Airbnb?
it's so many, depending on the states and stuff like that, and what you would call it. But essentially, Airbnb arbitrage is you're the tenant. You have a landlord and you're master leasing the home. So essentially you're signing that rental agreement with the landlord. And then from there, they understand that, and obviously you have that communication with your landlord, letting them know up front what it is that what your intentions are with the home. And then from that point, you just go ahead and you prep it to list it on Airbnb.
Yeah. So let me summarize what I think it is. And again, tell me if I'm right or wrong. So again, first off, I'm really glad you said communication up front, right? You're telling the landlord of an empty building, apartment or house, that you're going to be Airbnb, right? You're being very upfront, but you're basically signing month-to-month leases, right? So you're buying the month. Then, go ahead if I'm wrong.
So up front, I do ask for the first year. I do give the first year, whether it works out for me or it doesn't. That's the risk that I take, and I think that's something that kind of helps out. Just because it does take, I think, 9 to 10 months for you to get your initial investment back.
Sure.
So I do ask for a 9 to 10 month. A 1 year contract, and then from that point we go month to month.
Right. No, I guess what I meant is, So first off, thank you. So you're signing a year lease, but you're paying monthly. You've agreed to a monthly rate. Is that right? Or are you paying the whole year?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
No. Monthly rate. Yes, you're right.
All right. So you're basically buying the month, and then you are saying, hey, you're going to rent it out by the day, right? Basically, buy by the foot, sell by the inch, to use a wholesaler manufacturing thing. Then you are assuming the responsibility for furnishing, because most landlords that you're going to do this with aren't renting you furnished properties; they're vacant. Is that correct?
Correct.
And again, I have no idea what this costs, because again, I've never done it. So folks, I'm learning along with you. What does it cost to kind of furnish a house? Because you have to furnish the house, furniture, dishes.
The three that we have are both there. We have one three bedroom, and then we have 2 4 bedrooms. All of them are around 1,800 square feet. So that's costing us somewhere between $15,000 to $20,000 each year.
Okay, so let's just call it 20 grand for. So you sign a year lease. You're spending $20K up, because you got to spend that up front, right? Before anybody shows up, you got to furnish.
Before anyone shows up, that's the initial investment to get it up and going.
Cool. And I'm just curious, again, never done so you sign the master lease on Monday. How long does it take to, because that's a lot of boxes. That's a lot of cardboard.
Yeah.
How long?
And that's the learning curve, right? And so obviously time is money. And so when you're first getting into it, you have someone, for instance, say like Kyle, right? He's been able to do it at scale. And so it's repetition. So he's been able to build that team to where they can be in and out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Okay.
For us, we try to give ourselves a 4-week span. And again, that's communication with landlords, understanding that, we may sign a lease for maybe it's January 15th and we're signing a lease to move in February 1st. Okay. Well, within that span, we're ordering stuff because at that point you already have stuff ready in your carts and you start ordering the stuff. And then sometimes the landlord will let us get in a couple of days early or a week early just to start having stuff shipped there. It's all communication, but typically we'll try to be in 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. And again, you have 3 of these. Yes. You have 3 of these. So how's it worked? When did you get your first one?
We got our first one in December. What are we? 2022. Wow, this is crazy. December of 2019.
Oh, so 3 years? No, 2 years.
It's actually that one we just hit a year because I'm sorry, 2020.
Oh, 2020. Okay.
December of 2020, and then our second one we got March of 2021.
Okay.
And then our third one we got November. We had our first guest December, so we got November of 2021.
Awesome. So let's talk about the first one because you've had it longer than a year now.
Yeah.
How's it been?
It started rocky. That one started rocky. We had tenants steal a lot of stuff out of that house and damage some stuff out of there. And that's where the other side of the business really helps because it allows you to kind of just. And it was on Valentine's Day, so we actually had a same day booking. So we got it all cleared up and we got it ready for the turn.
So let me make sure people caught that. So so this is on Airbnb or VRBO?
Yeah, Airbnb.
So somebody says, "Hey, I want to rent your place." They basically come to your place and steal from you?
Yeah, they parked in a garage where there was no cameras. And then from that point, they put stuff in the garage and it was put stuff in. They took the TV, damaged a couple things. But I mean, you live and you learn. I think it hit my wife crazy because it was a new journey for us, and it was, it really hit her, and I just told her, I said, at the end of the day, we had to look at, what came of it. We still had a booking. It was a good paying booking. We're going to get refunded the money that we had to spend to refurnish, whatever was missing.
So let's talk about that. So is that because Airbnb Insurance or something?
That's because we had the surveillance outside of the garage and we were able to take pictures and all that stuff and send it in the claims with the receipts of the stuff that we purchased. And as long as we can verify that it was taken from that guest, because if it was fully furnished before they got there, and when they left before the next check-in, we can prove that they took the stuff. So Airbnb refunded what we had in place. So
I don't know that people, I didn't know that because I don't have any of these. So again, part of being part of Airbnb is they have an insurance or a claim process for guest damage.
Yes.
There you go.
As long as you can prove and verify that because obviously you don't want anyone getting blamed for anything, right?
Yeah,
and so as long as we can verify, which for the most part, as long as you're diligent and your cleaners, taking, at least when they walk in, they can see nothing's really missing. Right, at that point, you want to get that information out to Airbnb before your next guest check in, because that's where it gets cloudy.
Okay. All right. So let's play it out. So you had a bad experience with that one tenant. You lost $4 or $5 grand. How long before you got the money back?
It was like $1,300.
Oh, okay. So how long did you get?
It was like a TV and all that. It probably took about 2 weeks.
Okay. So it's
not bad. As long as you have reserves, because things are going to happen. Just like if you own any other rental property, you own any other business, shit happens. And as long as you're prepared to handle the shit when it happens, then you'll be fine. Awesome. You'll be taken care of in the long run.
All right. So this is, how similar this is to my first rental. Think about it, right? My first rental is a horrible journey that I wrote about in that book. So where does it go from there?
We had a same day turn. So from that point, honestly, it was good. I talked to my wife. I said, look, like these are the numbers. We still made money on it before they even paid us back. You know what I mean? So it was still, we made money. We got our same guest in there the next day. Was it a headache? Yes. But we learned. We no longer give garage access because I just don't feel comfortable putting cameras in a garage. We now use it for our cleaners to store, back stock and stuff like that. But from that point, it's been good. I can't really complain about it. To be honest,
let's talk about that. No, I want people to see that even though they're bad experience, people, I have a saying, right? People suck, people disappoint you.
Yeah.
Right. It happens. You just, in this business, most people are awesome.
Yeah. Most people are awesome. Yes. There's always going to be those people that's going to give you a hard time. Like when we started our second one in March, that one actually went really well. We had a guest staying there and this is in Tower. So sometimes there is a homeless problem not sometimes, but there's a homeless problem in Tower. And on this home, we had one of those crank windows. and somehow someone was able to kind of pull it open.
Mm.
And he came in while one of our guests was there.
Oh,
yeah. And this was, I think this was, trying to think when I can't remember, but yeah, that had happened. That took place. And so
that
we just
refund.
No. And so we refunded our guests and we, they went somewhere else, and we completely you got to completely understand stuff like that, and you live and you learn, you just adapt to what's going on, and you learn how to really mitigate those risks or chances of those things happening. And as you continue to grow, you start thinking about those things. Like you start thinking about the windows, you just improve. And from that point, honestly, we haven't had a lot of issues.
You just get a little bit better every day.
You get a little bit better every time you walk in the house. You're like, oh, those crank windows. Let me put those little metal screws in it so they can't crank it open. Just little things like that. Just you live and you learn.
There you go. Well, let's talk about the first numbers on the first unit. Because you've had it a year now. So total booking, top line, total bookings roughly.
I don't have those numbers.
Come on, you got to know roughly.
I mean, I just because on Airbnb, on the way that you're paid out, it doesn't do it by unit.
Okay, well then,
it goes based off of like what you were able to do with.
All right, then then your summary for 2021. Our
summary for 2021 was $108,000 gross.
That's gross. Okay,
that's gross. So when you factor in what we've had to, we have $4,600 a month for two of them, and I believe another $3,000 for the other one. So we're sitting around $7,600 a month.
Okay.
If I was, even though the third one didn't start till December.
Yeah.
If we were to just take that through, I think out of it all, we're sitting around like $50-something thousand.
Okay.
And then you take my private money loans that I've taken out to get those up and going. We probably netted somewhere around $20,000-$25,000.
So let's just call it 24 for easy math, right?
Yeah.
So again, Airbnb arbitrage. And I guess you just said something I'm not sure most people realize. On all three units, are you using private money to fund I don't know what you call it, make ready?
Yeah, which is crazy in itself, because it's not like I don't own the property. And so when you talk about being able to have people feel confident enough to lend you $15,000 to $20,000 on unsecured $15,000 to $20,000, I think it's just really, it vouches for just kind of, who you are, your brand, what you do, and doing what you say you'll do.
Very, very cool. So again, don't own the property, borrowed the money to furnish them, and you made, I'll just round it to $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
On basically 2.5 units, because the last one just came off.
Mm-hmm. And that last one that just came on is booked to March 3rd.
Oh.
That one doesn't suck. No, that one in itself, when we ran the numbers, that one's in Northeast Fresno. Mm-hmm. That one in itself will cover the expenses for all three.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that some is good, more is better for Michael? You're going to do more than 3 of these?
I want to own them. Okay. I do like the home that I'm in now. So I mean, I have 3 children, and we're sitting in a 3-bedroom house. So we unfortunately we'll be buying a new house sometime soon. Yeah. Which kind of sucks right now, especially a new construction. But the home that I stay in now, we actually refinance this house. Nice. And then we'll turn this house into an Airbnb. And this one will take care of our new house.
So your long-term vision, again, always getting better, right? Back to Anna Kelly, how we started this.
Mm-hmm.
Our Airbnb Arbitrage got you started. It was a proof of concept. It is clearly working, but your long-term vision is ultimately to be owner of your Airbnb.
For sure. So I think that's where it gets, where you have to really think about when it comes to Airbnb Arbitrage. When you talk about co-hosting, right? You're pretty much handling the management of a listing for a homeowner who has all the expenses, basically. Mm-hmm. When you're co-hosting, yes, that's an actual business model, right? It's a business business management. Mm-hmm. At that point, that is an entity that you can sell. Nice. So there's value there. As for arbitrage, I'm not 100% sure, because that's not my vision. But I've seen it as something of being able to get me cash flow. Yeah. So it's not strictly on my wholesaling side of my business.
Yeah.
And then from that point, it allows me to really just focus on building your brand, networking, all those little things that sometimes you can't afford to do when you're having to work in a wholesaling business, because at the end of the day, if the deals aren't coming in, you're not making any money. And so Airbnb Arbitrage has allowed me the freedom at this point to get going.
That's awesome.
So I'm not necessarily leaning on it for the long run. I'm not saying, and I'm going to retire on this and hope that, shit doesn't hit the fan. I'm going to prepare for that ahead of.
That's awesome. Well, Michael, again, how can people follow you?
My Instagram is at Michael Butler _Jr. And that's honestly where I get most of my interaction. Yeah,
folks, again, follow him on Instagram. Puts out amazing stuff that makes me smile, which we definitely need in this world. Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate you.